quick saying ah or hey or anything. How many people from Houston tonight?
Hey.
Yay.
That many. Security. People from Houston. I'm here to make a difference in your lives by telling you the story of one. One is not a number. One is an acronym. O-N-E. The O stands for only one you. The N stands for no one else. And the E is simply everyone. Let's begin. One. Only one you. You are unique. I want you to do me a favor. Tomorrow when you get up, brush your teeth, get dressed, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, I am unique. I am the only one of me that has ever existed, that ever will exist in the history of the universe. There will never be another one like me. I have unique talents and unique gifts that God has given me to help others. I am unique. Now you say, how is that possible? Do you know that you are made up of almost 100 trillion living cells? By the way, that's more than the federal deficit. If we could just give a piece of skin or two each time and they wanted some, we'd get it all done real quick. 100 trillion cells, each of them microscopic. Inside each one of those cells is a nucleus. Inside of each one of the nucleuses is your DNA. Who can say what DNA is? Where's Margot Love? She's not here today, right? Deoxyribonucleic acid. I have to remember to take Margot on tour because I can't say that. That's why we all say DNA. Okay. How many bits of information do you think are stored in DNA? Guess. Any guesses?
A billion.
A billion? Anybody else?
2 billion.
2 billion. The Human Genome Project mapped the DNA in each and every single cell of your body at 3 billion places. 3 billion places in each cell. Not only does it do your hair color, your eye color, the shape of your legs, maybe the shape of your butt, it does everything. Probably even stuff we don't even know and don't even realize yet. Maybe even down to the depths of your very soul. It is, for all intents and purposes, you. It makes you unique. It gives you talents. It gives you things. God-given. Without that, you wouldn't be you. So you are unique. Remind yourself, every morning if it takes it, get up and look in the mirror and say, I am unique. Let's move on. N, no one else. Now, you're thinking, didn't he just say that, no one else? No. There are times, instances, moments in your life when you will realize that it's your turn. It's your turn to step up to the plate. It's your turn to have a say. It's your turn to be needed. It's your turn to run this organization. It's your turn to do something, to use those talents, to use that uniqueness. A couple of examples. This does not have to be difficult. This can happen hundreds of times. It can happen only once. And you will know it. You will get that feeling inside of you, and you will say, hey, it's my turn. When Karen and I, my wife, were looking for our first house, we looked all over. We looked in this subdivision over here. We looked at this floor plan. We looked at this elevation. We looked at all this stuff. It's overwhelming when you're shopping for houses, as I'm sure many of you know. We actually came upon a gentleman from Pohle Homes, and he said, hey, have you guys ever been told what you can qualify for on your mortgage so you can have a range of what to look at? And we said, no. He said, well, I'm not going to do the complicated thing. Just tell me about what you make and about what you make. And he got out his little calculator, and he said a number. Woo! Made my wife's eyes look big. She could see the big house, 3-car garage, the dogs running around in the big yard in the back. And I thought, man, that's a huge number. How am I going to pay that off? And then he did the thing that made him the no one else. He said, don't do it. And we said, well, why? We can get approved for it. He said, because that doesn't include your PMI. That doesn't include your escrow account for your taxes. That doesn't include your electric bill or your water bill or the furniture your wife wants to buy. It doesn't include any of that. And if you do buy that huge house with that huge mortgage, you'll be sitting in that house 3 months from now eating beans. And more beans. Every once in a while, you might go out and get a piece of chicken. Mainly, it'll be beans. You know, that was one of the smartest pieces of advice I ever got in my young life. He stepped up very simply and did what came to him naturally and was the no one else. He used that unique talent that he had, that unique skill, and he was no one else. Another example, my brother Richard. If you met my brother Richard, you'd be amazed, because he's twice the size of me. I'm the little shrimp. He's the big guy. He's 6'3" or 6'4", 260 pounds. He was a United States Marine. And after he got out of the Marines, he went back and got his black belt in judo. He is one tough guy. If you could take the brick and throw it at Rich, I fear for the brick. He found himself unemployed one time, up near my parents' house and living with them in Vermont. Anyone ever been to Vermont? You know it's cold. Vermont is not a question of if it's going to be minus 20. It's only a question of when and how long. The snow is deep, it's icy, and the roads are tiny. It's a very rural part of the world. Most of the roads go this way and that way. One way, one way. He wanted to make a difference. He had recently found Christ in his life, and he wanted to make a difference, and he was searching for something to do. So he started taking courses as an EMT paramedic. And as I understand, they take months. It's not just a quick thing. They take months and months of courses. And it's very, I would say, grueling practice. One evening, he was driving home through the cold, through the snow, through the ice, and unfortunately, he was the first person at the scene of an accident. Now in Vermont, as I said, the roads are little, and the accidents usually happen as a side swipe or as a head-on. It was a head-on. You can imagine blood, guts, twisted metal, cold, screaming. He did the best he could. There was only two people there. One didn't have a chance. The other one was barely alive. When the regular EMTs and paramedics finally got there, they credited Richard with actually saving that person's life. Then he told me something he did, which I never heard my brother say before in his own life. You gotta remember, big guy, Marine, not afraid of much. He said he went home and he cried. He cried for the humanity. He cried for the person's life who just perished. He cried for the blood and the guts and the stress he just went through. But he also told me he cried a little bit because he realized suddenly that that was not his calling. That was not his no one else. That was not his unique talent. But he tried it. He stepped up. He did what he had to do. Now, he's gone on to become a very successful chaplain to truck drivers. He used to drive the big rigs, and now he goes to the truck stops and actually brings the word of the Lord to them. He's found his niche. But he had to give it that shot. No one else. Sometimes you're going to have to step up and use your unique talent. Let's move on. E, everyone. Everyone. I firmly believe that God gives his talent to everyone. A chance to make a difference. Chance. Let's talk about chance for a minute. Human beings are just enamored with chance. We build monuments. We build cities. Las Vegas, Nevada is wholly built on the chance. The turn of a card, the roulette wheel goes around. We have lotto. Here we walk in, we tell in a gas station, put our $5 down, and tell a machine to randomly pick 54 numbers in the hopes that 3 days from now, another 54 numbers randomly will spit out of another machine and match. Whew, that's a pretty big chance. If you talk to mathematicians and scientists, you will find out two things really quickly about random chance. One, nice round numbers don't appear often. 1, 10, 10,000, 100,000. Also, matches don't appear. Numbers don't match up. It is random chance after all. I want you to do me a favor, another favor. Tonight, next night, whenever you see it again, it's easy, easy thing to do. Look at the moon. Yes, I said the moon. I would ask you to look at the sun, but that'll hurt your eyes. Don't do that. I would ask you to look at the earth, but it's kind of difficult because we're standing on it. So look at the moon. And I want you to consider this. The very first words in the Bible, Genesis book 1, verse 1, said, God created the heavens and the earth. Our sun is here. The earth revolves around the sun in one revolution. In one revolution of the earth around the sun, it makes 366 revolutions. The moon is exactly 366% smaller than the earth. The moon revolves once around the earth every 27.32 days. The moon, by its mass, is exactly 27.32% the mass of the earth. The moon is 400 times closer to the earth than it is to the sun. The moon is also 400 times smaller than the sun. This is why when the total eclipse comes and the moon comes in between the earth and the sun, it works. If you've ever seen it, seen a picture of it, you'll see the moon and the corona of the sun just around it. If that moon was any further away, any smaller, even by a few thousand miles, that perfection wouldn't work. Now I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking about the turn of a card in Las Vegas on a blackjack table. We're talking about the exact placement of the celestial bodies of our solar system to within a 99.999% accuracy. So I ask you, what are the chances of that? If God can do that, He can give every single one of us a purpose and a uniqueness to do good in the lives of others. One, only one you, no one else, everyone. It's been my honor to stand up here and talk to you today. I especially want to thank people like Rob Pennington, Teresa Behenna, and Mike Lejeune who've guided us through the Protrack session. Thank you very much.